Hey, my name is Emilis, and I will be teaching you how to create this concept image and also how to turn it into a moving shot that is of professional quality using the latest visual effects techniques. In order to accomplish this, we will be using software such as Adobe Photoshop, Isotropics Clarice, SideFX Houdini, the Foundry Nuke, and Autodesk Maya. So, first of all, a little bit about me. I'm a digital matte painter / environment generalist, and I have been working in the film industry at DNEG in London for the past 3 years. In this video, I will show you how to use a lot of the techniques that I use in my professional work and how to best utilize them. My aim is to not only teach you the techniques themselves, but also the logic and the rationale behind using them at specific times and the choice between different techniques. This way you will be able to apply them to your own work better. This tutorial will not focus very much on modeling. All of the models that I'm using here are created in advance. However, I will show a small demonstration of me creating one model and let you guys extrapolate from that and create your own models with the same mindset that I do. Most importantly, however, we will focus on creation of an entire image, which will involve many models and a huge layout and really build a big picture and allow us to take our work to the next level. We will use skid patch geometry to create the base of our city. This will allow us to bring in a lot of detail quickly and focus on the overall image instead of the individual details. By using rather generic skid patch models, we don't have to worry too much about the theme because we can just flesh out the shapes with them and then add the bespoke touches on top manually. I will show you how to use the scattering system within Clarice in order to create vast and exciting cities that you would not be able to achieve by just hand placing geometry. I will teach you how to find good compositions using scattering and also how to use it modularly in order to make your project as efficient as possible. In addition, we will look at creating some decimation and sampling maps with which we can cull our point clouds in order to make our scattering setups look more real, more natural, and more sophisticated. I will go over a lot of techniques for doing this, including noises and distance to UVs and normal maps, in order to equip you with all of the different tools that you can use within Clarice to achieve great results as quickly as possible. We will combine these procedural methods with some hand-placed geometry, and by doing this we will aim to get away from the look of a computer-generated image and aim towards the look of an image that has been handcrafted and hand-designed in order to make it look more authentic and more natural. I will go through all of the different methods that I use, ranging from procedural methods to handcrafted methods, and this will involve using Clarice's bespoke tools, which will allow us to paint geometry onto surfaces, and I will really go through my logic for when to use this, when not to use this, when to use different techniques, and really try to nail down a good system for creating these large environments that is both efficient and fun to do. We will take what we learned when creating cities in Clarice and apply some of those techniques to creating some spaceships. We will focus on making this as fast and as efficient as possible while achieving a cool result. In addition, we will render out some textures for ourselves so that when we are painting in Photoshop, we have a solid base to start from. With that, and some additional effects such as lighting and interaction with waterfalls, we will be able to integrate these airships into our image realistically. Doing this will allow us to bring life to the image and really make it seem dynamic. We will export all of our renders out of Clarice and into Photoshop. Here we will recombine them into a complete image where we will have full control as we go along with the matte painting. We will save a lot of time by creating triplanar global textures in Clarice and importing them into Photoshop. We will not create these on an object-by-object basis, but rather a single texture for the whole city for each render, and then by using IDs in Photoshop we will be able to separate these and paint them in exactly where we wish, when we wish, and this will give us a greater amount of control later on instead of rendering all of this out baked in from the very beginning. Once we have our renders in Photoshop, we will combine them in order to create as complete of an image as we can before we start manually painting anything. This will involve using our triplanars and our IDs, as well as using some Photoshop blend diff functions in order to find the best composite image just from our Clarice renders in order to save a little bit of time when it comes to the manual painting. Once we do move on to manual painting, we will use photo reference in order to work as quickly as possible, and I will share my own tips and tricks and logic for how to work most efficiently. We will add some effects while in Photoshop. This will include fog and waterfalls and God rays and things like that, where we will aim to add just a bit of extra mood and life into the image using these techniques. I will show you how to replicate this in your own work so that you can take away these techniques that I am using here and apply them to any scene and painting that you might do in the future yourself. In order to complete our concept, we will go through a series of small steps right at the end, which will help us finalize the look of the image and make it look photographic. Individually, these don't do much, but put together, they really go a long way in making your image come to life. These not only include things such as color grading, but also lens dirt and light wrap and chromatic aberration, and also using things such as blur and sharpen in order to really bring together all of the different elements that you have used, ranging from photographic to renders, and really get them to be the same level of sharpness and for them to live in the same world. For those of you who are only wanting to create a concept, this will cover all of the basic and advanced techniques, and for those of you who are wanting to create a moving shot, we will proceed further. I will show you how to grab everything you have done so far for the concept in Photoshop and how to bring that work back into Clarice in order to reproject it and make it work through an animated camera. We will create a multi-camera setup for our projection, and I will also show you the different techniques I use for the different elements in order to render them as efficiently as possible when bringing them into Nuke. Depending on how much parallax our shot has, we will make the decisions for where to cheat and where to create things honestly. So some of the elements, such as these waterfalls in the background, I will place on cards because they work well enough just as animated 2D elements, while for other things, such as VDB fog, as well as cables, we will go into Houdini. Doing some of these things in 3D will help us really tie everything together and add that little bit of realism that we would otherwise be missing if we only use 2D elements in our moving shot. By doing this, we are making it look more authentic, and it's a bit of extra fun using these techniques and using Houdini to help us out on this project. In order to save time on our rendering, we will treat the distant light render as a matte painting and we will just reproject it. In addition to that, we will animate it slightly in order to give life to the scene, and we will do similar things with a lot of our render layers, such as shanties and boats and people and birds and waterfalls and haze, really. By using a mix of these techniques where we distort things using noise and also hand animate a little bit, we will be able to just add a little bit of life in the short span of our shot, which will make it look slightly less static and more like a real-world scene. We will supplement these 2D animated elements with our 3D elements from Houdini, and using a mix of both, we will be able to just cheat the viewer's eye and lure them into thinking that it is all 3D. By providing you with a variety of these techniques, I hope to teach you the inner workings of the system and my logic, so that you can apply these to different subjects that I'm not even covering in this tutorial. By having the understanding of the inner workings, you will be able to create cool stuff that saves time and is efficient and looks good. Finally, bringing together all of our 3D layers and all of our animations and adding color grading and other effects, we will complete the compositing process in Nuke. You will come out of this knowing how to put together a cool, large-scale shot and use your imagination to its fullest. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you learned something and you're able to take it away for your own personal work. Let's go.